Oh, that's right. I didn't start the music. So, I'm gonna Fox, you did your best, but here's the actual one. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For the second week in a row, I have decided to not play the intro music right away.
I'm so good at it. Why do you just keep just throwing disrespect towards
Doing
my
acapella.
towards my bass lines?
Yeah,
It's
well,
just a highly toned skill.
hey, the only thing I know is that however we got that music, I should probably keep playing it. No offense to your musical talents. So, and I don't know how Taylor got it. So,
One of our guys made it.
whoever made it. Anyways, but who else made it was all of us here tonight on another successful season of KitSZN. Number 4, by the way. 4 years into this, and we've rated a lot of kits this year. A lot of help from even this man popping in a few times, giving his takes. And, obviously my partner in crime here through it all. So we have rated. So today we're going to just kind of look over the season of KitSZN across the USL and all 160 kits that we've rated this year.
Insane.
And insane. I'm tired. He's tired. We need a break.
Don't know how you guys have done it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, neither do we. No idea. Still figuring it out.
Yes, but what I will say, the reason we keep doing what we're doing is because these lovely patrons down below love what we do, and the support y'all give us is absolutely top notch, and the reason we keep doing this. So, got to give a massive shout out to John Hunt, Frank Anthony, Christopher Cohn, Harry Austin, John Fuller, Michael Fuchs, Joshua Duder, Noah Telford, Alberto Aguilar, Jeremy Churchman, Stephen Howard, Ryan Lacara, Tim Knox, NF Reg 30, MLS Runal Patel, All the Hedgehog, Andrew Towsley, Madcap Peel, and Ryan Smetzler. Seriously, if it weren't for y'all, we would not be doing what we do, and the just the love that y'all show us and the feedback has been honestly well worth it. So before we dive in, Austin, Fox, any thoughts from y'all before we just jump in to tonight's episode?
We did it.
Yes.
Another one in the books.
I was gonna ask a question. Actually, you said 4 years. What is it? Can you tease? What can we expect for the 5th year? Are you gonna do anything special for the anniversary year next year?
Smoke.
Cue the smoke.
Cue the smoke. That's my hint.
Yeah, maybe some cue the smoking. Some fun things lined up, I think, for 2025, which will build off of for here for 25. 2024 was a fun year. 2025 was a fun year. We're looking to build off of that and really hone in on our relationships. I'll put it that way. So
nice.
Yes. What's also nice is this slideshow that I made. So made a little slideshow. I love it. Yes. Yeah, I know. I love me some Canva graphics here. So but here tonight, one of the first things that I really want to go through is as we rated all 160 kits, I think one did get released like yesterday, a pink kit. I don't care about that one.
We don't count it.
Not factored in. So we did 160 kits, and we're going to go lead by lead and kind of go over how they performed, the best performers composite-wise for each lead, and kind of give our thoughts as we kind of go on. And we'll get to do some more summaries here at the end and kind of give you our thoughts here, because I think there are some interesting things to note from this year and on the certain teams who are actually who did quite well. I would say, at least. So, particularly here in the championship, which I want to start off with here. Oh, the Oakland Roots doing their thing as they did. I definitely think, they did their thing as they normally do, and that really helped the championship. I think that you'll see the championship has really upped their game in the 4 years we've done this.
Agreed.
And that continues year after year after year with a 3.5 average.
The big thing we've talked about is that the championship, they're wanting to look more professional per se, but you see what's going on in League One and League Two. They're over here selling kits. They're getting money. They're getting income. They're getting their name out to other countries.
Some teams, yeah.
Yeah, like Forward Madison per se, and like they're like, oh, we should do that. So they've been stepping up their game.
Right. Yeah. I will say also quickly is that I think they've also mastered that professionalism with design that you see in League One and League Two, where you have the ideas. And I think the championship really mastered that to kind of give you that clever, good design with that sense of professionalism.
I think a part of that too is with larger front offices with more resources at their disposal.
Yeah.
They're able to put more effort into the presentation. So whether that's a kit launch video or graphics explaining each individual part. So even if maybe the idea is not necessarily as complex as something you might find at a USL 1 or USL 2 level, it is professional in that regard. You don't have to have the perfect idea if you're able to execute it perfectly.
Yeah, and I definitely think you see a little bit of that here in League One with a few of the ideas, particularly that Union Omaha tried to do. I think you'd kind of see that clearly in them, and I definitely see that difference.
Yeah,
as we go through.
Like what you were leading to us, and like I'll shout out my friends, but like Louisville, they had template kits. They were fine looking, but they were well marketed. So they had a full team. They brought in fans. They had models. They took shots throughout the city. Did a little explainer talking about how like the waves of the Ohio River. Like we saw a team with the home and away with the exact same template. So
Tormenta, yes,
yeah, Tormenta had the exact same template for both their home and away. So like it's like, is it the Ohio River or is it Tormenta's ocean? So. Yeah, who made it first?
Right.
They're on the ocean, right?
I don't think they are. I don't think South Georgia's on water.
So how are they a Tormenta? Isn't that a water tornado?
It's from the monsoons. It's like the monsoon, like little hurricanes. So it rains a lot. So it's like south of the savannas, I think, if I remember right.
All right, so there goes my ignorance. But I'm just saying, they can market it differently, so they can put in the effort to show like, no, this is ours. So that raises up that level of professionalism that you see up there.
Yeah, you can, and also as we kind of noted, as much as we credit teams like Forward Madison to be creative, or same with Union Omaha, the expansion sides really took over League One in terms of being the team presenting a brand. I think that was important. They presented their brand. AV Yalta crushed it. We kind of forgot about them, but they crushed it this year. Portland Hearts and Pine, outside of their third kit, they absolutely nailed it. I think the third kit's a fun debate amongst people.
Yeah, that's exactly what that one is. Like, I appreciate it. I'm not going to buy it. I appreciate it for the giant swing they took.
Yeah, and I definitely think you see that also with KitSZN. They did their thing and they looked well. But I think it talks to the difference between the championship and League One, where the average of the championship is a 3.5, with the highest being a 4.7, 4.6, and a 4.3 with El Paso, Colorado Springs, Oakland, and the best in League One being a 3.97.
feel like though, if you look at that, so I see what you're saying. So the average is better in the championship, but you have that many that's high. They're in like the high mid fours, and then Madison is the
Yeah.
high one at almost a 4.
Right.
And their differences in averages is only a 3 point. Is like a what, a 0.3? Yeah,
0.28. Yeah.
right. There's a 0.28 difference. So I feel like that's showing us that like League One on average is closer together
Yes.
versus championship on average is going to be more spread apart. So we got some high highs, but we got some low lows.
Well, I think that's interesting what Brett said about the expansion size too, because I think Forward Madison is obviously a big name in the kit space. They've been trendsetters for years now, but Avialta is relatively new, and they're neck and neck. You almost wonder if you see some of these really high achievers like Forward Madison maybe regressing to the mean a little bit. Obviously, we know we have a little bit of insight into how their design, even just the staff working on their kit has changed, right? But
Yes.
Are these teams that have been around running out of ideas? Whereas someone like Avialta, they have a brand new story to tell. So everything that they come up with is, they're getting the best of the best ideas versus a team that's been around for almost a decade now. Maybe they're having to rely on the same stories, or they're trying to go out of the box, but they're having to take bigger swings because they've already tried so many other things. It'll be interesting to see if this trend continues. With the championship, with their professionalism continuing to do pretty well, and in USL 1, you've got some really good kits, and then some that are just a little bit more average.
100%, and I also think you're starting to notice also the supplier change too, especially up in the championship. You see Oakland, who recently moved to Charlie. I think like 2 years ago. I think 2 or 3 years ago they moved over, and you're seeing that come to fruition. El Paso, I believe, recently moved to Hummel, and that's why they kind of did a flurry of stuff. Indy with Under Armour, it's a mixed bag, but it's year 2, so that means you're starting to see them kind of get into their thing. Vegas, same thing with Charlie. New Mexico, they've always done their thing. San Antonio's new with Charlie as well. And then outside of and then League One, they kind of Hummel and Madison, Hummel and Knoxville have been their thing. To your point, Austin, Avialta's new, Tetsoma's new, Portland's new. They have that leg up in that sense, not just with the brand, but the brand and the supplier.
Saying like you're saying, like you can't burn a candle at two ends, right? Madison has been doing this for 6 or 7 years.
I think since 19. Yeah.
So they come out to swing every year, and it's always like 4 or 5 kids every year. And some of them are bangers, some of them are average, some of them are okay. And I think that's what you're saying, just like you were talking about, Austin.
Right. I mean, they had a preseason jersey this year. Did you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yes,
so,
they did.
It's just like, when you have that many, surely not all of them are going to be your best ideas.
Right.
That is true. Speaking of most kits, by the way, the most kits of the entire USL wasn't even Ford Madison. And I'm counting match worn. I don't care about warm-ups. There's a lot of warm-ups being released. I think a lot of teams, that's kind of their new thing now. For the Indy 11, we have like 7. Or just non-wearing kits. Too. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't even warm up in them.
I know. It's whatever. It's a new shtick. I get why they do it. The finances, whatever. But the team with the most match-worn kits, Charlotte Independence. They released 6 kits this season.
And they were all average.
They were all average, which is why they're not even in the top 5 here. So they went full Napoli on us here, and I actually had to extend our rubric, like our tracking system, because I only do at most 2 alternatives. They did 4 alt kits. Broke it. So, congrats, Charlotte, I guess.
You win, most kids.
Yeah, you won the Napoli award. As
quantity over quality.
Yes, which was surprising, being that it was Trapelli, which I normally associate them with being good quality for a decent price. It kind of did neither. But
they were nice, okay, clean kits.
Yeah, they were.
They had the classic Charlotte logo on it too, which I did appreciate.
Yeah,
And they had some pinstripe ones, so they were okay looking ones. Like if you're a fan, but that's the issue. If you're a fan, you can't sit there and buy 7 of them.
Oh no.
They're not going to be. None of them are creative enough to be bought by like us, like fan or kit collectors. So they're going to have some backstock, I'm assuming, or they only bought low quantities to sell.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And kind of like auction kits, like auction ones that a lot of teams have been doing. Like, hey, we work for a game, we'll auction it off for like a charity or something.
Yeah.
I've noticed more teams doing that. Speaking of more teams, we'll head down to probably our favorite segment of kits are the semi-pro level, and we'll get to the W League. Austin's wearing one of the League 2 teams himself, actually, which they just keep crushing it. I love it.
Des Moines.
Yes, Des Moines. But so we're talking about USL League 2, and we're talking about teams like Vermont and their average was a 3.69. You can definitely see the creativity. Also, there's a lot more kits that we didn't touch. We just did the ones that were effort that released it and did their thing. So
if we did all of League 2, we would still be going until January.
Yeah,
because of all the academy teams and stuff like that, all the 2 teams technically, and like most of them are just like Puma templates, Nike templates that are just here's a white one, here's a blue one.
Yeah.
Go play soccer. And so we're not going to sit there and give it our time when they didn't give it their time.
Yeah. And I think we need to give flowers to teams who did put in the effort. So I'm talking about Vermont Green. We all know them. They're a household name at this point. Also, congrats on their championship.
Right.
Lane United.
The term look good, play good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Won the championship. Won our top League 2 team. Boom. On average.
Yeah, and they're like the number 3 overall, 3 or 4 overall. So like they're doing it. Lane United in their final season before that new Cascadia United comes in next year, Sporting Cascade next year or 2 years, can't remember. When Lane United, so they went out high on the 4.57. San Francisco City kind of killed it this year, and I'll get more into why I think so. But they did well kit games, so they deserve the flowers. Asheville always does it. They're underrated, Asheville City. I don't know what they do down there in Western Boone, but like they crush it in Asheville. So shout out to them. And then we all know Ballard and their artist collabs, and FC Buffalo, respectable shout out as well. And then also snuck in West Seattle, thanks to our friend down below, putting effort into those kits. So
I know a guy who does those kits.
Glad we made it.
Yeah.
Friends in high places.
So are we. Like, it's always important for us to see teams who are putting in the effort. And I definitely think League 2 is the easiest place to see teams who put in the effort. And I think the teams that we listed here, and there's several others who really tried. And I think that should always be celebrated.
I think the reason is because you can make up for, the lack of a big front office and, that kind of USL championship budget. Yeah. If you have, a great idea, if you have artists willing to dedicate the time to execute it, you can kind of fake your way into being professional via kits, even if you're not a real professional organization. So, Ford and Madison and others have shown that it's possible, and now all these other teams are just kind of following that blueprint now, which is fantastic. That's why this is so exciting. That's why you see all these, incredible kit concepts that honestly, a lot of European soccer fans or football fans, are jealous of. That's why there's such an appetite for USL jerseys over in Europe.
Yeah. And that's crazy to think too, right? Like that, team. So normally when you think of it, U.S. fans are watching European leagues, and then they're watching the American teams and all that. And we think we have an appetite for Europe soccer, when also at the same time, European soccer loves our creativity and our youngness, our creativity of our kits and our sport here in soccer. And that's such a funny,
Right.
weird thing. You know what I mean?
Because you also think like typically there's like this pretentious attitude. It's like we built this. This is ours. What is this?
Yeah.
Minor league stuff. But now, like again, like I think it's thanks to websites and stores like Classic Football Shirts and all these cool stores that are putting our stuff in there. I mean, like you have a couple jerseys in there.
It does.
You know, Florida Madison is in there. Actually, I bought a Tennessee
Knoxville?
Panda Bear.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Knox.
the one
Yeah,
that's
yeah, the
Panda
one Knox.
kit
Mhm.
from Europe because
Yeah.
that's the only way I could.
I guess this is a good time to leak this. Brett, the shirt that you're wearing is going to be in Classic Football Shirts very soon.
Ooh, see, that's just awesome, and also congratulations on
That's
that. Just like that's just so cool in all of it. That's just so cool.
It's
So-
a little surreal. Yeah.
We have. So I feel like I was just trying to get to the point that like they might have higher quality soccer, but we have higher quality fashion.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly the fact that we don't have clubs with hundreds of years of history. You know, sometimes we mourn that, but also that means we're not, you know, oh, this club wore red back in 1893, so we always have to wear, you know, like Tottenham is always going to be a white shirt. We're not, especially in USL2, we're not bogged down by that, so we can kind of go all over the place, and that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, and I also think it kind of leans into how we view sports in this country too. I don't think there are even many sports teams in general. I think there's like probably a few dozen American football teams that have such strong traditions. And outside of that, it's a free for all. Like, look at the Oregon Ducks in football for how their chaoticness. You can look at obviously almost most of the soccer teams here. They just kind of do their own thing. Look at minor league sports.
Minor league baseball. Yeah.
Minor league baseball is huge. And you can even see it in like even baseballs. They started to catch on to it. Same with the NBA with their like city edition kits.
Yeah.
Or their city edition stuff. This is something that you
don't have to come out with the same 3 kits every year. That's the reason like I love soccer and footy so much more than I like football, is because I ran a store for years. It was a Lids locker room, but like we would come out with the new Bengals jerseys, and it was like, yay, cool! It's the same jersey as last year, except for this stripe is right here instead of here. Whoa!
Yeah,
and then they would like come out with like the whiteout kit, and then the other one would be like a full orange kit. I'm like, it's the same thing as the kit. You're just changing a color on it. So you know, then you see the soccer kits, and there's creativity with it. And it's a new story every year.
Yeah, and I do think that is definitely changing across the U.S., and I think it's because of American soccer. That's my hot take, because you've noticed, as I said, MLB is starting to do it, NBA is starting to do it, NFL has even loosened up their regulations on.
They just started this year with the rivalry uniforms.
Exactly. So like everyone's starting to see what's a great way to get people invested. Sell good-looking jerseys.
Yeah. Well, like to go with that. Sorry, and people will wear it. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you. I'm so sorry. But like the youth leagues, they dig into that so hard.
Yes.
Like the youth football teams and the youth base, those traveling teams, they have some of the sickest jerseys that I've ever seen. I'm not going to buy them because that'd be creepy. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like,
yeah.
How could the Eagles can have that jersey?
Right.
Like it's like a sunrise. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that sense of like, especially academy, and that kind of sense of, hey, we're not professionals, so let's try to have some fun here, really leans heavy into League Two. I definitely see that, like, hey, we're not professional. We want to make something that looks professional, that looks good, and that kind of really taps into that creative brain that a lot of semi-pro teams and clubs kind of dive into. And I think that's why they're consistently one of the better ones. Same with the USLW, same mindset.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the Super, They didn't do super well. So if you combine with how they did in a 24 to 25 season, they had a 3.43, which is respectable. First season, they had quite a bit, not too bad. But then I think only 5 teams released kits in 2025, 2026 season, including an expansion, Jacksonville. They had a measly 2.63.
You saw the average. Yes.
They're doing what the USL Championship did in their early years. And I think that's exactly what happened here. Outside of one team who did try, but and we talked about this essentially why we didn't like that. But everybody else played it very safe. And it's kind of the trend that the championship used to do until they got their footing. And then we started seeing the kits like Oakland, Colorado, El Paso, once those teams got a footing. And I think that's what we're seeing here in the Super League, which is super disappointing, honestly.
Yeah. I think the good thing is, like you said, if we're following the same trajectory as the USL Championship, it's just a matter of time until we get there. But yeah, there are a lot of template kits, and maybe it's because these, unfortunately, these teams are kind of being treated like B teams, even though they are, at the highest level. It's not maybe a priority for the front office if there are other teams under that same umbrella. So, hopefully we'll get there. But especially seeing the kind of regression of not as many jerseys and not as many good jerseys from last year to this year. Yeah, not the best.
Correct.
Yeah. Like you said, hopefully it's just one of those situations that it's uphill from here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I do think the future for the Super League will be really good. I think it just has to get its footing like the championship had to do early on. And I think if we can get through those early seasons of the championship, we can get through the early seasons of the Super League. But what we are really happy about is how the W did. The best overall league kit per kit.
Wow.
With a 3.71. The heavyweights of Minnesota Aurora, they crush it as they always do. The Ivy resurgent a little bit with their 4.29. Salmon Bay was a highly anticipated 2-team coming out. The sister club of Ballard FC, which we all know, what Ballard has done.
Yeah.
They put it with Salmon Bay as
high
well.
expectations who followed through.
Correct. And then Sioux Falls, who we got to interview when they made the move from WPSL over to the W League, that was a big splash. An already pre-existing brand just hopping into something that was a big boost to them. And then Flower City, and then of course the Oakland Soul, as we always do, and countless others like the Ivy, West Seattle, the Roadies, who also made a nice splash. A little shout out there to Austin KitSZN. And so all these W teams, and this is like the 4.07. We had to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams to just get to the 4.0 mark.
Right.
It took League 2 like 5 teams to get below that 4 mark, and it shows the quality that you're seeing put into the amateur side of the women's league.
We'll put a little asterisk with that. It's the same conversation we just had with League 2. We did not rate all of the W League teams because there's a lot of W League teams that also were like the templates in the exact same situation as League 2. So I'm going to put a little asterisk with that. So the ones that we kind of picked and chose was because they were good.
Yes.
I am a little bit surprised that, it's very narrow, but that USLW beat out USL2, and I think that's fantastic. But, as I started thinking about it, why is that? You look at the names listed there, teal, pink, purple, light blue, more purple. That's not something that you see in USL2. And I think that just goes to show how much people yearn for something different. There's a different story being told. It's a completely different color palette. It's a different look. People want something that's different. And I think that's why the USLW has done so well, because you're not getting that at the USL2 level. You're getting that with women's teams. So it's kind of an extension of, the comparison to Europe, where they have to kind of stay within boundaries. Well, within USL too, you're staying with like your navy blues and reds and kind of your more traditionally masculine colors. With USLW, you're opening the floodgates. Every color under the rainbow is fair game. And so that's why you're seeing such creative ideas coming out of there.
And I would also note kind of what we talked about with the expansion sides in League One. In the W, all these teams are less than like 2 or 3 years old, barring any exceptions. Like Minnesota Aura, besides their push to professionalism, they're relatively new and a powerhouse. Richmond Ivy, same thing. They branched off of the Richmond Kickers. They're young as well. Salmon Bay, new this year. Sioux Falls is relatively young as well. I don't think they've been around that long either. The Soul, same thing. Flower City Union, same thing. And you compare it to League Two, and even the kit that Austin's wearing, that team's had history. They're at least 30 years old, I think, at this point. You don't have any of that. Same with Atlanta United, San Francisco City, who I think it's been around for a long time. The team, Asheville's been around for a bit. Buffalo has, and like you see some more aged teams in League Two. Not that they haven't been able to make the kits. I think you see, to Austin's point, a breath of fresh air really from the W, given that it is a very, very new league. Less new than the Super League, which kind of bits a little bit, but the W is quite a young league. And it's really just having fun being young, I think.
I think we just hope they can continue that momentum. We want to see more of that.
Yes. And especially as what normally happens, at least what I say, between League Two teams making the jump to League One, we'll probably start seeing some teams in the W make that jump up to Super at some point. And I think that's important to keep that cycle, that creativity cycle going.
I would love to see Minnesota go up to Super, because I know they were pushing for NWSL, and I love NWSL. I'm not going to douse a opposing league.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're already in the league. You know what I mean? Just go up the pyramid. You don't have to branch off anymore.
And it could be a statement for the league too, because we all know that NWSL was looking at them pretty hard. Off the other cities outdid it, Cleveland, Denver. But I think that could be a big statement of intent from the Super League, who's kind of floundered a little bit. I'd say in the expansion side, that's not topic for us to talk about, but it would be a statement of intent if the Aura, who's a big brand, I'd even argue probably the second biggest soccer brand in Minnesota, just right below Minnesota FC, Minnesota United. So I think that is a huge accomplishment, and they're still an amateur side. So I think being able to get them to keep them in the Super League would be a massive win, not just for the league, but I think for every team in the Super League as well.
Agreed.
Yes.
So yeah. So overall, as I mentioned, we did 160 kits with an average of a 3.35. I think that's a pretty solid score. I think if we do it right, it's almost between like a B minus C range is somewhere in there is what we like to say. The 3 point. Actually, that might be a little bit lower. So it's about a C. It's about what we would expect. 3.5, right? C.
2.5 would be halfway between 5.
Oh, so that would be about our C. So it would be like between a C and a B. And I think that makes sense for overall consensus of the kits, which are led by the Oakland Roots with the 4.75, the Aura 4.69, Colorado Springs, the little asterisk at a 4.63. They only released the one kit. So that's why their score is quite high. They only released the 1/3 kit. Vermont Green at a 4.63, and then Lane United 4.57. With majority of the kits kind of all over the place, which is I think is a nice sampling of the best that the USL has to offer. So, but next year we want to talk about the good kits, the kits that really, really grabbed everyone's attention here, and where they came from each league. So we had 9 kits that were new, our latest additions to the club. And as a result of that, we are going to be giving away teams a little certificate. We'll be mailing them. Thanks to Fox. This is an idea from Fox. We'll be sending them a certificate because, hey, you did something cool. You should get a piece of paper saying you did something really cool. So, we got 9 new ones to send. We got 9 ones sent out this year that really embody the idea of look good and play good. And I'm so happy that these kits came out this year, especially one that came out very, very late in the season. So
This says it's just like, hey, don't forget about us.
Right. So, but so for those who don't know the full list, here is the championship clubs, which there are 3 kits here in the championship. You have the Downtown Gold kit, which I think is the most Vegas thing that they have released to date. I love the Vegas vibes that they did. I can't think of anything that's more Vegas. And I love that. I think it was perfect for them. The Star Spell kit is so Birmingham. I learned so much. It's beautiful. I even saw them wear it when they played Indy. They think like a month ago. It's such a beautiful kit. And then the one that we just referenced, the Oakland Roots, the Bay Waters kit, which is just literally art put onto a kit. I'm sorry, you can't beat that,
Yeah, it's literally art.
And then that was properly transfixed onto a kit, and it just looks so good. It looks so good. Now there was some debate, and I will mention this one here on this one. I wonder your thoughts on this one, Austin.
Sure.
The Sacramento Republic Fallback Attack kit, that 90s throwback one that they did, the reimagined 90s throwback kit that they did. It wasn't perfect for us because I didn't like the 90s style.
Us is the word.
Yes, I didn't like it to the 90s style. And it's not something that I personally vibe with. So I wanted to hear your thoughts if that was something that you think would have deserved to be at least in that conversation like how we had, or if it's just something that was really cool, gimmicky kit or whatever. Just your kind of thoughts on that one, because I think people will probably bring that kit up.
I had that in my postseason notes. That I think that kind of falls into some category with this Des Moines Menace kit. We do have some clubs with history, but we don't have clubs with hundreds of years of history, like in other countries, right? But what's interesting about these 2 kits, the Sacramento Republic kit you mentioned in this one, is that it's not a direct throwback, right? It's not like the Rowdies taking a dirt they've done before. It's a little bit bolder than that. It's taking 80s and 90s trends, and even though they never actually wore it, it's reinterpreting that, and it's executed so well. Yes. And I think, Brett, to your point, it's intentionally not going to be for everyone. Not everyone's going to like it, and I think that's part of the charm. A lot of those designs from the 80s and 90s, I guess let's say 90s and early 2000s, are kind of so bad that they're good. You see now a lot of NBA teams, for example, they're going back to those identities full time, even though back in the day people didn't like them. But now with nostalgia, it's like, that was so iconic that we want to go back to that look. So I had that as kind of like my biggest surprise trend of the season. I would love to see more of that because I think, this is just a start. Think about how many other teams could tap into that kind of imaginary history and do their interpretation of a 90s kit, right? And a lot of them are going to be misses. I don't expect them all to be bangers. And I think that's the beauty of it, is because it's exciting. You never know where you're going to get. We could have some just absolutely legendary, this is kit of the year material, or there are some that even if it is the kit of the year, there are going to be people who don't like it because it's going to be so garish, right? And it's just so different from anything else that we've seen in the USL space. So I don't know that I would give it a 5. I was kind of on the fence about it myself, but the more that I look at it, the more I think, you know what, this is really what we need in order to kind of advance kind of the look and feel. It's just a whole nother dimension, right?
Yeah. No, it kind of reminded me of the trend that MLS did, even with their kind of throwback. It's like Nashville SC. They've not been around that long, and they even had a throwback kit. I think it is something that I think is an interesting topic when done right. I think it will work well. I definitely think Sacramento Republic crushed it. One of the concerns that Fox and I have is exactly what you brought up there, Austin.
Yeah.
Teams who do this, and it's going to fail hard in their face if they try to do something like throwbacky, and it just doesn't work. And I think that is, one of the safe things about the map kit that we all hated. It's hard to mess up a map kit. I think it's a lot easier to mess up a fake throwback kit.
Definitely.
Because you're trying to create something, but also mimic a style that you didn't have, but then just reinterpret it as your own. I think there's more room for error there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that was what I was saying. That's like, I feel like this is more of a fear of mine, is that it's going to become a gimmick and become the next map kit where, like, you know, we like the map kit, and then all of a sudden, like, everybody did it, and like, we're like, okay,
right,
here's another map kit. And I don't want this to be a trend almost. If a few other ones do it, I'll be okay with it.
Right.
But like, I feel like with, like you were talking about the MLS, we almost expect it every year. Like, you know, like 7 teams are going to get a third kit, and it's going to be a throwback. And 4 of them were created 2 years ago. So, like, here's Austin FC's new throwback kit.
Team that's been around for like 5 years, if that.
Right. So, yeah. So it's just one of those things. So, like, I gave that one a 5. I feel like they nailed it on the head. They killed that kit. I absolutely love that kit so much. And it does give me the nostalgia that I loved about the early 90s MLS days and or late 90s MLS, early 2000s, all the cool stuff with that. So I love what they did. I almost fear the idea that everybody's going to do it now.
Right. Speaking of one of our biggest fears was a map kit, and earlier in the season, actually, Fox had predicted this. He wasn't aware of it at the time. He actually misspoke with their name, actually. It's kind of hilarious. I'm looking back at it. But Fox had predicted that, as he put it, KitSZN, I think is what he called it in the first episode. He had successfully predicted that they would have a map kit. And then they actually ended up coming up with a map kit, which was, I don't know how you did it. I don't know what you did, but
seasons of training, bro.
They don't make our top 5 here, but you did it somehow. I was looking back at that to see how off we were on some of these, but just wanted to point that out as we talk about map kits here. And which moves us into League One, which brought us to our 2 5 clubs here, the AB Alta, which honestly gives me huge Pacific FC vibes with their indigenous kit. You can't go wrong with that. And then the Flock kit from Ford Madison. They finally put a flamingo style onto a kit. What took them this long to put a flamingo on a team nicknamed the Mingos? Like,
it took fans.
It took fans, and I love it. Plus the fan collaboration. That is such a cool thing. I love that so much.
I feel like it goes with what you were talking about Austin earlier, though. Like, for Madison, they're kind of burning the candles on 2 ends, and they have to constantly go outside of the box. And they went with the fans, and the fans just banged it out. It was a beautiful kit.
Yeah, and I will say about Madison, which we'll get into, we can probably talk a little bit more, but their home kit, I think their away kit was okay, but it was boosted by 2 kits, their third kit and their fourth kit, the Tilt kit, and then the Flock kit really kind of helped them. And then the one was
forgot about the kit
shorts. Because the shorts, man, and I argued that on the episode. It's because you all care about the shorts.
I love the shorts, but I
the whole
really
uniform
like
was great.
Yes.
The whole uniform was great. The kit itself was just a polo. Anyways, League 2 does have 2 entries. San Francisco City and their Jeremy Novi Pride kit. piece of art again. It's a local artist collab. Same with Ballard FC and their Sarah Robbins, which you also see noted in the USLW. Everyone knows that I love an artist collab. I always talk to Austin. I always talk to Fox about this. I love artist collabs. They're honestly my weakness. So much so that I actually just bought the Sarah Robbins kit with my birthday money because I need to add it to my other artist collaboration kits in my collection. So I can't say much more about these kits besides they're just art put onto kits, and that's honestly just my favorite type of kit. I don't know how Fox or Austin feel about that, but that's usually how I vibe. Obviously, you rated it perfect, Fox. So
we both had the rated 5 for it to be on this list.
That is true. That is true.
I mean, I think these two clubs are setting the standard in terms of. I mean, Ballard was one of the originators of this trend, right?
Yes.
I think you're seeing more and more clubs start to hop on board.
Yes.
But these two are still the ones kind of executing the best. They're picking the right artists, and those artists have great stories to tell. I almost feel like this is going to be the new map kit because it's a little bit more foolproof in that you can just kind of give an artist a blank canvas.
Yes.
Compared to like the retro kind of throwback thing, you have to have a really particular kind of graphic designer to be able to do that. And even once you get to that point, a lot of front offices are going to be, they don't want to take that risk. It's high risk, high reward. This, I think, is pretty low risk because no matter what, it's a piece of art, and you're going to be able to sell it. It's a little bit of a jaded commercial way to look at it, but
yeah,
you're not going to fail for the most part if you go down this route.
Right.
That said, I don't think we're going to be able to top the level of SF City and Ballard anytime soon because they know how to do it.
Yeah. And I think that is, and from a front office perspective, from a business wise, that artist already has some bit of fame behind them, and enough people like that design. It's just a matter of partnering that design and that type of style with a kit. I think is what San Francisco and Ballard do really well, is that marriage between idea and style of the artist wrapped up into a kit. Because as we've seen with Union Omaha, you can have a cool idea, visual style, but it doesn't quite work with the kit, and it just looks weird at the end of it all. And I think these two are great examples who've done it probably some of the best in the USL.
Yeah.
If not the world, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. When are you, Ventus? Calling you out.
Yes.
I don't know why I chose you, Ventus.
Who knows? You're just trying to hate on Weston McKinney's team.
I am like Weston McKinney's biggest supporter.
Oh, I'm saying it's team, not him. His team keeps hurting him a bit because, they never want him to be a star of the team. Anyways, every year I hear this. But the Super League didn't want to be a star kit-wise, so they got no new additions to the 5 Club. But the W did with the Brighter Together kit, the one that brought tears to Fox's eyes, hearing kind of what the meaning was from Cassidy. Please check out that interview, by the way. The Sioux Falls City Pathways kit, which is just such a fun vibe kit. It's some of those, I always need a fun vibe kit. I know the Sarah Robbins is kind of that one for me too, but the Pathways is just a fun vibe kit for me. It's just so colorful, fun. I always get a lot of mentions towards it. And then also the Sarah Robbins, since the kit was for it, the crest faded between the Salmon Bay and Ballard FC crests. So it's technically both teams did that. So, yeah. So we had 9 kits join it with the USLW and the championship sharing that here. So now here we start diving into some of the fun topics of kind of this season and kind of the questions that I had our panelists here kind of give us their takes. I know I spent 50 minutes reviewing the whole season. I didn't realize how much stuff we talked about this season, and it was hard to try to condense it. So, but now here's the good stuff, I think. So I'm going to start off with here. Fox, Austin, whichever you want to go first. But here's a question: what was your favorite kit set? Not kit set of 2025.
I'll start off just because I'm right below you.
Go for it.
I'm going to El Paso. Good old locomotive. I love just the different kits that they came out with. Yet everything had its own personality,
Yeah.
and like literally got to the point where back before we kind of fell off of doing our kit of the week or our kit matchup of the week, it was almost just like whoever's El Paso was playing against.
Right. Especially
Because
when they played Vegas too. Anytime
right,
those,
exactly.
I think when they played, it was like easily one of the most aesthetically pleasing matchups.
So like just their homes or aways, everything is just very cool. They even came out with like these special edition jerseys, and they had the AEW jersey coming out.
Yep.
But I love the what did they call it? That
The
was the
graffiti?
kit. They had the graffiti one that's up the side.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that one. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. But then it wasn't the purple goalkeeper one. It was the one that had like all the newspapers like splattered throughout it.
Oh, I can't remember what you're talking about.
Like do
Yeah,
it yourself, the DIY.
yeah.
And I will say, like, I know Madison came out with a similar one last season, but it's still cool to see. Like, that's still one of my favorite artist styles. It's like 90s punk,
Yeah.
and I love that. So those like the home and away kit, like they're both so creative and they're so different too. Like we
Right.
got one that's kind of hip hop. It's the train graffiti on the side of the trains and stuff like that. And then we got the other one that's like 90s, 80s punk, with the newspapers and ads on the walls that they're just plastering on top of each other, advertising the new band.
Right.
They were both beautiful to me.
Okay. So you went with the El Paso locomotive. Austin, what was your favorite kit set?
This has an asterisk because I just now realized the away kit is a carryover from last year, but Sacramento Republic.
Okay.
That home kit with the stripes, the use of those colors was just so perfect.
Okay.
And when you couple that with the away kit, which again was a carryover, but it's a sash with 2 tones of red,
Yes.
it's classy, it's timeless, it's unmistakably Sacramento. And then the cherry on top is that black kind of 90s style retro throwback sort of look, which again is not for everyone, but it perfectly complements how traditional the home and away were.
Yeah.
Even though the home is, even though I'm not a fan of that team, I would consider rocking that, especially because those darker reds are so easy to wear every day, just on the street, paired, if I'm going to use the Kayla thing, but paired with jeans, or paired with anything really, right? So my first thought had been Hearts, but we'll talk about Hearts later.
Yes.
I think Sacramento Republic has a really cohesive home and away, but then also that special kit coming in late in the season really cemented its spot there.
Okay. For me, straight up, it's San Francisco City FC. So their home kit was more traditional, fan vote. You can never go wrong with tradition, but your team as old as San Francisco City. But then that denim kit, the Japanese-inspired like denim kit, like stitching, is just such a clever take on the denim kit trope that us Americans love to try to mimic from the 90s World Cup. I think that was super clever. And then you throw in arguably one of my kits of the year in that Novi Pride kit. That thing is just pure art. It looks so good. It has koi fish on it. Like, add all three of those just from an individual perspective, like combine it. I think all three can stand alone and be really good. And then you add it, say, hey, this is all the same team. Not many teams can go pound to pound with what they designed and came out with. And it just shows the amount of creativity that, well, I noticed with all the teams that we've talked about, we're all Western Conference West Side US teams. What the type of creativity that maybe some of us Midwesterners maybe aren't that fully aware of that's kind of out there, I'm going to say, because I kind of love some of the West Coast kits. But anyways, I love San Francisco Cities. They're my favorite. They're my best set. So
awesome.
That's a great choice. I agree with that choice.
Yeah.
I think
So
it's very on brand for you, Rhett. That checks out.
It does a bit. Oh, I also didn't mention that they had the Marta subway map warm-up kit too. So I gotta throw that one in because that's a fun little nod as well. So can't beat transportation maps. So, but so I'm gonna start with the biggest surprise of 2025 for me. That to me is Portland Hearts of Pine. I had zero expectations for this team when it comes to kit wise. I thought they were going to go with the Westchester route, a little bit kind of subtle, but kind of nice, kind of play with things a little bit and maybe have a fun third kit, the kind of tried and true recipe of some League One expansion sides. But no, that home kit, launch sleeve edition 2, killed it out of the water. The Hearts of the Bandit kit, I think was a hit. I think having hearts and I learned something from that kit. Just like, why do they have hearts? That's really cool. Blaze kit, it's its own whatever thing, but I think overall they were the biggest surprise to me because I had zero expectations for the Portland main team. They're my biggest surprise.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of shut out of nowhere. It's just like I love their badge, but it's also kind of big and bulky, so you didn't know what you were going to get from the team. And they definitely shot for the moon with how local they wanted to go.
Yes.
With the kits. So honestly, that was one of my second answers, and I also I'm going to just go with the fact that I cried this season because of a kit. That's going to be my biggest surprise.
That was
the Aurora kit.
Yeah. That was honestly something that, that was a surprise. So I appreciate that. Thanks, Cassidy.
Thanks. No, when I was writing, I typed in the Birmingham 5, but I mean, like recently they've been coming out with hits since they did the switch over to Hummel.
Right.
So, like in my head, there's still a Coca-Cola bottle, and the fact that they even kind of gave themselves a nod to that.
Right.
Is just on par for what I expect from Birmingham.
And then had a Sprite kit too.
That's what I'm saying. Like they were like making fun of themselves by making that Sprite kit. It was just a green kit with the Sprite on it, and like that's perfect.
I still need that kit, by the way. I need to work with Taylor to try to get with his friends out there to see if I didn't try to get my hands on one. So I need the Sprite. I love Sprite, so I need to do that. Anyways,
okay, I was gonna ask.
Yeah, I'm a Sprite fella. I'm not a Coke fella. I'm a Sprite fella. Sprite and Mountain Dew. Anyways.
Fair enough.
So, Austin, what was your biggest surprise of 25?
I already said my surprise earlier with the Sacramento Republican Des Moines Menace, kind of the retro throwback.
Yes.
Just was not expecting that, and it was a pleasant surprise. I will add one more thing, and this is in terms of recognizing, certain causes. This is definitely recency bias, but with it being October, I was not expecting so many pink kits.
Yes.
Not that that's not an important, both my mom and aunt are survivors of breast cancer. So that's not to say that cause is not important, but this cause has it's been around since, I feel like it was around the late 2000s, maybe like 2008, where, you started seeing football teams wearing pink gloves and things like that. The fact that this has been around for so long, and it's still such a big, it's for better or worse, there's a lot of pink, and that's still a very easy cause to support, and it needs support. But what I was pleasantly surprised earlier in the season seeing a new cause kind of come to light, which is, I believe it's 988. Is that the suicide prevention hotline?
Yes.
So Minnesota Aurora supported them. There's one other USLW team that I'm forgetting that did either a warm-up or a pre-match top supporting them. I think Sacramento Republic did as well. They had a patch. It's really nice to see, especially in this day and age, mental health is more important than ever, just the awareness of it and the resources. So it's nice to see across different leagues support for that in various ways, whether it's just a simple patch, in place of a sponsor, or it's an entire jersey, like Aurora did, like Cassie did for Aurora, where the entire jersey is designed around that specific story. So
and then auctioned off too.
Right. There you go. So kind of two different sides of the same prize. One, a new cause, two, kind of an old cause that's been around that is still alive and kicking.
Yeah, and I definitely think that leans into the whole warm-up trend too. That's kind of been popping up here in the USL, where teams are starting to have fun with the warm-up kits. They're starting to dive into a bunch of causes, and just kind of been testing waters and being creative with their non-playing kits besides the warm-up kits, and kind of doing something special with it, such as the suicide prevention, or you can do it a mental health awareness, or we even saw a few military appreciation ones as well. So I definitely see the USL starting to dig into that a bit, and it was a nice surprise to see the wide array of causes added to that list. So yeah, I agree with that. But now we gotta go to the biggest disappointment of 2025. Thoughts? Who are you disappointed at?
Loudon.
Okay.
And I think it's just because they came out flying last season with their switches, and because they switched in companies, right?
Yeah, it was. They swapped from I think it was Adidas to Capelli.
And they came out swinging last year. They had the pinwheel, and they had the multi-layered with the Pegasus throughout the kit, that gives almost like a camel kit, but it wasn't. The Shadows kit.
Yeah.
And they were both just so good. And I was like, man, if they keep this rolling, and they didn't. They just came out with some they're not ugly kits or anything like that.
Yeah.
But they didn't swing. They're like, yeah, we had fun last year, wasn't it? All right. So this is our jersey this year. Like, oh, okay.
Right.
I just felt like that was disappointing.
I definitely think Loudon has a strong case, especially from last year's kits, for a team that doesn't always have to release new kits, especially that home pinwheel. I think that could have just stayed and then just make minor adjustments from there going forward. I think that could have been their staple kit. They decided not to do that route, and I think that probably adds to your disappointment there a little bit.
Yeah, they didn't have to come out with another pinwheel.
Look at Rhode Island. They only released a third kit this year because they had two. They're home and away, the same thing. Because they didn't need why break what's not broke? And let's instead of trying something new, just keep doing the same thing. So
yeah, and the environmentalist and the financial person in me always am okay with these teams coming out with just one kit a year, or like Oakland does, replace. So I'm assuming the primary next year.
Yep. That cycle just keeps going. I think wholesale swoop from Loudon really hurt himself.
Yeah.
Austin, what's yours this year?
Obviously the USL Super League was a little bit disappointing overall, but I'm gonna have to call out Jacksonville Sporting Jacks.
Yes.
With such a tremendous logo, you've got a really, really bright blue, really bright orange.
Yes.
The scene was set for them to have just stellar kits. And, unfortunately, being an Adidas team, all they could manage was, granted it was the right colors, but it was a bright blue, plain Adidas template with orange stripes. At least they got the colors right. Teams with special colors like Monterey Bay have struggled with that. But it was a plain, there was nothing else on it. So, I definitely think they left a lot on the table. I hope they're going to be able to more fully utilize those colors in, at least have some sort of pattern or some sort of pinstripe or something on it, right? Yes. But, like I said, they have all the brand assets they need to be able to succeed. So hopefully we'll just see them be able to exercise that a little bit better.
Yeah, and I definitely think that kind of comes to the idea of what we think is important from a kit perspective is building that brand and identity. And when you go super, super template-y, it's hard to build that brand. And it's either you get stuck with that forever. I'm looking at Chattanooga Red Wolves, or even South Georgia Tormenta, who kind of been stuck in this template pattern, or some other teams out there that just get stuck doing template after template after template, and it's hard to build a brand off of that. And I think Sporting Jacks had the opportunity to do something good with their kits, and I think that definitely hurts them.
Missed opportunity.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
What about you, Brett?
Mine's Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds and Riveters. I think the Riverhounds, they follow the same footprints that I think Loudoun did. Pittsburgh didn't have to go full on 3 new kits this year. I think they could have probably done 1 or 2, and it would have turned out better. I liked last year's overall better, like kit per kit. I liked it better. And then that 3rd kit is just extremely disappointing. I know what they were doing. It just didn't turn out right. And I think they should have deviated further from colors. I think one of the things that really irks me about 3rd kits is have fun with colors. So like if your team is black and yellow and then your way is white and yellow, or white and I think gray and yellow technically is what they use for their away kit. Don't use white as your 3rd kit. Do something different. Like go full on red, go full on blue. Don't make it similar enough. And then actually
they're legally allowed to in Pittsburgh.
I mean, sure, I guess. I don't care. I don't like it still. And then the design itself was just really bad and such a drop off from last year. I think that really hurts. It's like I think Loudoun still created some decent kits this year. It didn't live up to last year's, but they still made some decent kits. I think Pittsburgh severely regressed under year 2.
I'm curious, Brett, how much of that was tied to it being Charlie specifically? Because obviously Charlie has a reputation. We've seen what they can do with other teams. If they had switched to like a Hummel and released the same kits with a Hummel logo, would you have been just as disappointed, or was it specifically tied to your hopes with such a manufacturer with such a reputation?
I definitely think there is some baggage to the expectations for Charlie teams. I think for me, it says I know what they can do, and I think that is what hurt me. Because I know Hummel can, at least now that Hummel's been around, kind of a main player for a few years now, and the champion in the league. You know what they can do, what they can kind of do in the middle. Charlie, every time they've been bangers, outside of that one short season when those very quickly for Las Vegas Lights would kind of get thrown in with them, everything has kind of been good with a team that they've touched. And this just felt like a drop-off to me. And I don't know because they've either overexpanded or because they used all their good ideas on one set, especially with the bridge kit, with the river kit. And I can't remember their 3rd kit, but I know I liked all 3 of them. And I think that really hurt from this year. And then they went to go to the Riveters, and I think they tried too much to, I think, compensate for, I think, the overall lack of direction from the men's team, from the Riverhounds. And I think they tried to do too much because they did so little in comparison to the Riverhounds. And I think I was super excited to see what the Riveters would come out with. I personally didn't like it. I know Fox loved them. I personally wasn't that big of a fan when I saw them. And I think they were too busy.
Yeah, I'm not going to defend the Fort ones, either one, the Riveters or the Riverhounds. I did like the schematics one.
Yeah.
And the other one was fine.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to buy either one of them. You know what I mean? Like anytime soon, like they got good ratings, but I can see what you're saying. But to go with your question, Austin, like if it came out with Hummel, like I don't know, like I expect good stuff from either one of those, even if it was equipped. Like I have expectations because of the ability of creativity.
Right.
That's kind of like if they came out with Adidas the next year, I'm like, oh well, like Louisville switched to Puma. I'm like, oh, we're gonna get what we're gonna get, and hopefully we can make it look nice.
Right.
But when you have these brands that can make creative things, they have the technology and any of them. So like if somebody switched from Hummel to Charlie or Charlie to Hummel, my level of expectation is not going to shift.
Sure.
But like, you know, if somebody went from Puma to any of those companies, I'm going to have expectations. I'm going to be like, all right, let's see what you do. Because, you know, you have an open book now. And I felt like Pittsburgh, I agree. I felt like Pittsburgh came out swinging last season. And then this season, they ran out of their books. They had 3 in their notebook. And they're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I forgot about last year with the bridge kit, right? What's interesting is, yeah, Brett, you were saying that Charlie generally doesn't miss. So you would think with this many jerseys for both the men's and the women's team, at least one of them should have been a mild banger, right? And we didn't get one. So that is interesting. You wonder if maybe there are front office changes that maybe kind of dictated the execution a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, like who's making the choices? Who's designing the kits per se? Like, did they just let Charlie do what they want?
Right.
Is that a train?
It is a train, yes.
But yeah, it's like, you know, did they just say like, hey, get us something creative? You know, do what you're gonna do. Or did they have a guy who was like, no, like I did graphic artists when I was in college, and came up with some ideas, and they're like, I like that.
Right. Like it worked one year, but we want to cut some budget and maybe not put as much effort this year. I would be very curious to see and hear kind of what happened.
Some teams do, you know, especially at the USL Championship level, if they have enough graphic designers in house, you know, even at the USL 1 level, they will design it themselves and then bring it to someone like a Hummel and Charlie and say, hey, can we execute this? And they'll work back and forth. And it won't be exactly that, but you know, it's unlike for most teams where the manufacturer will come to the team and say, all right, for 2026, here are 3 or 5 concepts. Choose from this menu, and
here's the catalog.
Yeah,
it's the Maya Adidas collection.
Speaking of disappointments and worst kits, speaking of Adidas, there. So, what is your worst kit of 2025?
I think we had a comment chime in, which is related.
Oh.
I don't know if we're allowed to comment on Westchester.
I was going to make sure that we did comment on Westchester's box. I feel like I could do that.
Speaking of, by the way, Michael, since you're the one who did the comment here, early in the season, I had noticed in our high expectations video, you had predicted that Westchester would have the best kits in 2025. I'm just saying, I'm laughing at that comment of saying Westchester is disappointing.
So he had high expectations for Westchester, and now they're disappointing. That's a disappointment.
It worked. I mean, it matches, and I did note that, and I did see that, and I wrote that down because I died laughing when I looked back at the video and I saw that. So I get that. So
that's hilarious. I thought Westchesters were okay, honestly. Like I wouldn't say like they were one of my worst kits or anything like that.
Yeah.
That I'm not a huge fan. Like we've talked about it on the show, was it just a couple weeks ago, of utilizing the city skyline. Yeah, it's okay for marketing, but that's not where you play. So, like, I'm not going to put the Cincinnati skyline for a local kit. Like, it's only an hour away.
Or like, what was clever by the New York Cosmos? They dropped the New York part, and I think they're just called the Cosmos. I think because they're just kind of ambiguously somewhere in that region. You know what I mean?
Where do you play?
Yeah. Over there.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
I hate when teams are New England. I don't like when it's like I don't like the New England Patriots and stuff like that. Like that, you can't claim an entire corner of the country.
I think I've said this a few times. I don't like state names and I don't like region names. I always prefer city if at all possible. It's like Indy 11, Louisville City, Miami FC, Birmingham Legion. I don't like
Specifically for
Minnesota
soccer or for all sports?
all sports. So I
Interesting.
think because what I think happens then is that you basically you allow a team to move if you have like a larger region name, which should be flexible for the ownership. But that means that like, hey, we're the Minnesota Aura, but we play in Blaine, Minnesota. But now next year we're gonna play in St. Paul. Oh no, we're gonna move to Maplewood now, or we're gonna move to Minneapolis. They didn't move with having a name that kind of generic, I'm gonna say.
Interesting.
It's not
And
local
they don't have to
anymore.
change branding. And I think that is something that I personally don't like. It's a lot harder to move a team that's named the Cincinnati Reds to Louisville because,
There are minor league. We're minor league to them.
well,
So
yeah,
that's an
I
easy move.
know. I know, but what I'm saying, yeah, it's harder to move a team that's named Cincinnati Reds instead of just like the Ohio Reds or like
That's like
the
having
Tri-County Reds or something.
right. That's like having a team that's like in the Great Lakes area and like moving them to Los Angeles. Like,
Yeah.
it just.
You mean like the Lakers?
Oh, well,
Oh,
besides
yeah. The Lakers.
No, that's exactly what I'm talking about. But they kept that name.
I know. Same with the
just hilarious.
Dodgers, who used to be the Brooklyn Dodgers. They're now Los
Right.
Angeles Dodgers.
At least that's like their name or whatever.
I know, but like
If
it's
they're the
things
Lakers,
like
just
that.
the Great Lakes that they're playing
I
around.
know. It just things like that just don't hurt me. I like as local as possible, and I think it's just better.
I agree, though, because then you also know where they're at. Like if you're
Yes.
an away fan, there's a difference between like North and South Texas or East and West Texas.
Yes.
If you're just the Texas Rangers, I don't know where you are.
That's
and
true.
I don't want to miss you by 8 hours. So,
Yes.
I mean, yes, I know Google is easy, but
Yeah. And
you're gonna
also,
claim a
I
whole
think
state?
there's a
That's a
sense.
small country.
I think there's always a sense of pride personally when you can say what city you play in. Like I play for the city because that city is different than probably anything else within that state. So I'm looking at the Indiana Pacers. They're called the Indiana Pacers, but a lot of their market names almost the city of Indianapolis. And that's two different things. Yeah, they kind of have We Grow basketball, kind of allure to the entire state, but it's a lot harder to market an entire state when you also really heavily market to the city that you play in. And I think it's just easier to just be like, hey, I'm going to lean into the Indianapolis where we play and where most of our people live and kind of just get that culture. Anyways, that's a rant. That's not even what we're talking about. So I'm disappointed in myself there, getting off track. Yeah, I think I started
What we
that.
do.
It's what we
What's your
do.
worst hit of 2025, Brett?
Mine is I'll make sure I get the name right here. I didn't write the name down, but I want to get the name here exactly right. It was the Union Omaha 311 kit. It's here, I can pop this one up right here. This one. I think that one tried way too much for me to actually like it, because it follows the idea of it was a cool graphic design thrown onto a kit, turned the dial to 1,000, and this is the antithesis of what I like. Like boring kits or whatever, they're simple, they're dumb, whatever, they get the job done. This tried almost, I don't think too hard, and also too little, and I think that's what really bothers me. Yes, Union Omaha did miss on a lot of kits this year. This was the epitome of that, in my opinion.
It looked like a fake soccer jersey you would buy at a rock show.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of literally what it is. It is
we even questioned, was this AI generated, just because of the style? And I think just that question, or just that idea of not liking it that much, I can't think of a worse trip for 2025.
I forgot about this kit.
Oh, I didn't. It
think I
haunts me,
purposely
I
did.
swear.
Fox, what about you?
Carolina Ascent. Just that's my answer.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, at first, originally I said Phoenix, but I'm like, they're not bad. They're just there, like you said, they're boring.
Yes.
Carolina Ascent, they swung so hard and missed so hard because, and I think that goes with our argument we were just talking about, because they were trying to represent like the sunrise in the coastal areas. Like, are you in the coastal area of Carolina?
Or the mountains.
Which state?
Yeah.
Which Carolina?
Yes.
Which area of Carolina?
All of them.
All of them. We're Appalachia. We're the beach. We're the plains. We're
We're everything.
We're the city.
Right.
Duke and North Carolina. Like,
yeah,
you can't be Duke
like
and North Carolina. Which they're both in North Carolina, but like, still,
Yeah.
you can't be a Gamecock and a Tar Heel. Figure it out.
I know, like, there's a reason why they're two separate states. I'm just to say they obviously had some beef at some point that they couldn't have one state called Carolina.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Same with Dakota.
Yeah. So Austin,
my answer is completely different. It is the Hartford Athletic home kit, the Fortress kit.
I don't like that one either.
This is, I think we talked about this at the very beginning. The USL Championship has stepped up their game. I think 2 or 3 years ago, this would not have been a worst kit. This is not offensive by any means, but just knowing what they could have done. It's more or less a plain green shirt with white logos.
Yes.
There are a couple details. There's a kind of like a chainmail-y pattern, I think, all over, but it's green. And then there's a little bit of like a castle detail on the shoulder, but that's very easily missed, especially with the Hummel chevrons there. It just, I think in 2025, this is not good enough for a USLC team. This looks like a warm-up top. It looks like a training kit. It looks like fan gear. On top of that, they couldn't even put the crest in full color. It's in white, which again, it matches the theme. But for a home kit, it's a little disappointing. So I think, going into 2026, I want to see less of this. I want to see more effort. Yeah, they added a couple things that are relevant to the team, but this was not it, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree. I had people from Hartford even reach out to me and be like, what is this? It's supposed to be a fortress, and it doesn't look like a fortress.
No. So, like you said, it's more of a chainmail. Like, you're the knight of this situation.
Right.
Like,
that's not even getting into the story of it all, just in terms of the design and execution.
So. Yeah. Okay. I will say,
what is the intern?
Yeah, blame the intern. Yes. But we're going from the worst to your best kit or favorite kit of 2025. Depending on however you want to answer it.
Mine is going to be, I'll go first because it's going to be very generic and very cheesy, very expected, but it's going to be Hearts, the home kit, the original LL Bean with the blue and green. I think, it might be an obvious answer, but when you look back on 2025, I don't think there's going to be a more iconic jersey that kind of represents, all of the kit world, right? That it was such and granted, a lot of that had to do with the local support.
Yes.
But we even heard from people who've bought it. It kind of set the standard in terms of comfort, right? And I know that's not what we're rating on, but
I wish we were.
I know.
Right? Yeah.
Hey, Hummel. So
I think it fits my design ethos too. My favorite set was Sacramento Republic, which was very simple but a good use of color. But Hearts was there was so much press around Portland. I hope that shows other teams that it's okay to go simple as long as it's executed really well.
Right.
You don't always have to have patterns everywhere or loud colors. If you know how to distill an idea down to its core and just put that out, it's going to do well.
Yeah. And by the way, for the record here, I was the one who didn't give that a 5 out of us two here because I can be a hater. So just for the record, that's why it's not a 5.
Fair enough.
If it was just me, that Vibes Club would be ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm the reason it's not longer. So then send all your disappointment to me and all your anger towards me, please.
All right, Brett, what's your best of the best 2025?
I have to go with that San Francisco City, that Jeremy, that Novi Pride kid.
Pride kid.
I don't have one from this year that was so unique when I added it to my closet. I was so lucky and fortunate to get that added to my collection. And I can't think of any that encapsulate what I see and what a kit should be. And I think that one perfectly does it. The artwork, the uniqueness of it, and the colors are fun. It's just something that I could wear and I can get people's attention. And that's what I strive for in a kit, especially since I'm kind of I always joke I'm kind of a vanilla kind of man. I'm very simple. I'm a Midwesterner. I wear shorts way too long. I have khakis and I wear a sweatshirt. I'm the basic white dude in the Midwest. So having some color and some fun stuff to wear, such as that Jeremy Novi kit, is what I'm looking for. Exactly what I'm looking for, and that's why that is my best and favorite kit for 2025.
And I absolutely love how they took a Pride kit and made it something not just so proud. I know, but
too. And it's subtle. It just one small
thrown up onto it.
Yes.
That's. I mean, the team you're wearing now, they have a lot of. Yeah, but it's always a giant rainbow or something. And so that, which again, be proud of who you are. So that's the point of it. That's why they're loud. They're loud and proud. That's why it's called Pride. But to take a different view of that and have the gentle colorings throughout the koi fish, it was so beautifully done. The art was just magnificent.
Agreed.
Before you answer the question, Fox, I think that's what I was trying to say earlier with all the pink kits for October. Is I feel like with Pride kits, it's been done so much that you're not really seeing anything new. It's, do we fade the pink into white? Do we, so it's starting to, it feels oversaturated. And San Francisco City, really knocked out of the park in that they were able to do something completely different. Unfortunately, we're not necessarily seeing that with pink kits. So anyway, what was your best kit of 2025?
Louisville City's pink kit.
No.
Literally just a pink jersey with the black, almost like Adidas. Is it Nike that did the? No, it was Adidas.
Yeah, it's Adidas. The little side swoops that they did.
No, so actually, I'm kind of between two, and I hate that I'm between two because I want a best. But
are we surprised that you can't pick a favorite of all the 5 you gave?
So, but if I had to put one on top, it's going to be the Minnesota Aurora quilt kit. It hits so close to home, and they did such a good job with that. And they told a story. They made a beautiful jersey, and everything. I can't say one negative thing about it.
Yeah.
At all. I just absolutely love it. I'm still sad that I don't have it.
And brought you to tears too.
And what?
And it brought you to tears. There's nothing better than a kit for that.
When art, that's what you're supposed to go to the museum and this beautiful piece, you don't even know what it is, but you're crying because of it, because its beauty just takes your soul away.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what that did to me, because it took me back to Kentucky, back to going down 75 and just seeing all the or going down to Parkway, the Mountain Parkway down to Corbin from Eastern Kentucky. I used to go down that way to go visit my grandma, and because it's just more of a scenic, but you see all the farmhouses throughout the mountains, and they have their quilt badges up at the top, and it's their family sign. And it was just what I loved all the time, and it hit so close to home. But the other one was the flock kit, and that one, it's really cool looking. It's really out there, but it's also done by fans, and it's a freaking flamingo finally. But that's all I can say about it. So that's why the quilt kit is above that one.
What I will say before we move on is that Michael's worst kit was that Portland third kit. I think being a little harsh there on that Portland Blaze kit.
That's an argument to be had though. Like, I mean, we didn't rate it high either.
I mean,
but,
not the worst though. I will give it that.
I kind of want that one to wear it to the county fair.
Yeah.
Because
we would blend in. I'm just saying.
I
would
have
blend
a camo shirt for the county fair. I'm
Same
clearly not a camo guy with my pip-plup behind me.
But besides county fairs, I want to see what we're most looking forward to in 2026. And for me, I want to see the Super League step up their game kit-wise. I think that is the biggest one. I think League 1, League 2, the W, and the Championship, they're all making the right steps to kind of go forward kit-wise. I want to see the Super League start to do that. Lexington did it, and I want to see more from Lexington. Brooklyn is playing it kind of a gritty, kind of ish, like urban vibe, but kind of subtle design-wise.
Yeah, and they kind of went backwards with that.
Yeah, I want to see more teams take a step forward. And that is what I am most looking forward to 2026, as well as I kind of alluded to it earlier here for the show, personally, us build off of our current relationships that we have connected with some of the greatest content creators across the USL. And I think that is what I'm looking forward to, is the Super League and really building off of our current and hopefully new relationships in 2026.
Nice. Ditto that second part, just copy and paste. Yeah, I want to build our community, and like that's what I'm excited for. Is as the community gets bigger, I want it to become worldwide. So that we constantly have conversations with people all over about what is going on in the USL. Because again, we have 5 leagues and technically academy, but we have 5 leagues that are all coming out with, generally speaking, great kits. Come on, Super League. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to, what's to come. Like we keep moving up. Is it going to go up? I'm excited for that. The what ifs with this?
Okay.
I think it should go up.
I hope so, because then everything will start turning into 3s. If it doesn't,
yeah. Just say, all right, this is the top kit with a 4.3.
Right. What about you, Austin?
I alluded to this earlier, but I'm interested to see if specific teams can continue their momentum going forward. Portland Hearts of Pine is an interesting example because they had, I think, arguably one of the best home and away sets. And then obviously recently with their third kit, that was very controversial. Didn't quite hit. I think it did what a third kit is supposed to do. It's very different from the home and away.
Yes.
But it just leaves you wondering, are they out of ideas? Are they going to be able to repeat that success? I think they will. I hope they will. But now there's a little bit of uncertainty. There's a little bit of a drama. We're ending, if this were a TV show, we're ending on a cliffhanger. I don't know. Maybe they're not.
Season 1 was so good.
Right.
Right.
I think similarly, Ballard and Salmon Bay they've established themselves, as having a really strong pedigree of good-looking kids. San Francisco City 2 has been knocking it out of the park. We touched upon, I was on the episode when you guys reviewed one of the Las Vegas Lights kits, and we noted that they have kind of changed their kind of brand identity in terms of what they wear compared to seasons past. So I'm really interested to see if we continue to see this kind of elegant, classy, glamorous Las Vegas Lights continue to be the thing. I think there's no better time to be a fan of jerseys in American soccer in the USL space, right? And this recap has kind of shown that there's a lot to be excited about, and hopefully we'll continue to have amazing looking jerseys to be able to, fawn over in 2026.
Yeah, and especially with all those new teams, some of them have made the jump from League 2 to League 1. Some of them are completely brand new. So we did a whole bunch of new, brand new identities across the league, across League 2 and the W. It's going to be really exciting to kind of see kind of the new kids on the block and see if they follow in some of the steps from this year with some of the new kids, or if they just kind of go the Chattanooga way. We'll see. But what I will say is, I kind of want to just very quickly here just go through some of the things that, as the season started, Fox and I might have said that definitely and could have or didn't go the way that we thought it would. So the first one here are the high expectations that we had for several clubs across the league. That is for Birmingham Legion, Monterey Bay, Oakland Roots, Vegas, Madison, and the Indy 11. We had pinpointed them specifically to have high expectations. I think for the most part, all these teams met their expectations overall. I do think Monterey Bay definitely took their step forward, dumping Puma and going Charlie. I think they definitely progressed, and that was so great to see. Vegas did their Vegas thing. Madison released two frankly fun alternative kits. Indy 11 finally, which I predicted, by the way, they finally released a third kit. I had said it, episode 1, Indy 11 was going to release a third kit. They did this year, and I couldn't be more happier with it, too. It looks so good. I know, Austin, you got it. I need to buy it myself. So I am so happy that I think all of these, you could say mixed bag on some of them, like Birmingham kind of going down a little bit. Oakland, they did their thing, especially with the away kit, a little bit more subtle. But then that third kit, they did their thing. Basically, all these teams met their high expectations that we had set for them in 2025.
Agreed.
Okay. Yeah. Simple enough.
Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Birmingham is one of my ones. Like, again, they were building up so much that first year with Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie. And I feel like most of them were okay, but then like they came out with the Stars one.
Oh yeah, Hummel. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Hummel.
Yeah, and I think Birmingham might be the best case for like a meh overall. I think because of the Jägermeister Cup kit.
Oh yeah, that one was.
I don't know if that hit, but that is to a different.
I thought it was cool. Like,
I think the idea was
county fair.
Yeah. Just saying. But we also had predicted Charleston, Pittsburgh, and Loudoun would be good again in 2025, and that is a resounding, I think, no to all of them. I think Charleston was too simple this year, but even with all 4 kits that they released.
They came out with 4 kits. 2 of them were cup kits, and literally nothing special about it, except for it was one was like a white kit and different color.
Yes.
On the sides,
way too simple
coloring and the detailing.
I want the Piston Snow kit instead of what we got this year.
I don't want the Piston Snow kit.
I'd rather do that than what we got this year. That's all I'm saying. So Charleston let me down.
It's a cannon, dude. You have a cannon.
We had a cannon. I know. I love the red accent on that kit too. Just please give that back to me. And we are talking about Pittsburgh and Loudoun. Those teams definitely disappointed us a little bit this year, and they weren't quite as good as they were in 2024.
That's really funny that those are the 2 teams we talked about, and I did not know. Like, I haven't seen your slides yet.
Oh yeah. Trust me, I went through that original episode and I wrote down all the out of the dark shit that we had said. Yes, my one curse word. That all the things out of pocket that we had said. And these 3 were pinpointed to kind of what we talked about here today. But also what was talked about was Westchester, Madison. I wrote Westchester twice on there. I think I meant to write Union Omaha to lead 1 in kits. And I think Madison did their thing, but Omaha and Westchester were definitely disappointments. And I think Omaha overall missed on every single kit this year. And I think they were not the ones to lead 1 as we had predicted.
Yeah, Omaha. I'm still waiting for Omaha and Madison to have a neon night game.
You said that week in the first episode too.
I'm still waiting for it. Baseball's doing it. It's not even banana ball. Like, other baseball teams are doing.
It actually happened here in Indy. I was at a baseball game afterward, and you did see all the merch in the background from it. Just left over.
I just need it.
Just
I
need
need a
it.
blacklight game.
Blacklight game. But yeah, so we had predicted that these 3 teams would be good in League One. They were resounding no. And we were right about this next one, though, that Adidas would continue to not give a shit about Chattanooga. There's number 2. I couldn't say much there. I had to really
Now we're
dive into that one.
PG-13.
Especially when we had the Chattanooga Derby in the U.S. Open Cup. It was kind of disappointing to see both teams with kind of mid-kits, especially given that Chattanooga's with MLS That's Pro and Adidas, and Chattanooga's also with Adidas, but they are given like toddler treatment with the kits that they have and very super template-y. So
that's exactly what I expected.
Yeah, and what we expected, which is why we actually got this one right. So League 2 would maintain their dominance. Technically, the W did, but I think League 2 had some higher overall averages compared to the W. So I think they definitely
maintained a dominance.
Yes, they did. That they did. And we had already kind of talked about this.
Yeah, worst league.
They had the worst hits. And I think we didn't have high expectations, especially given DC Power. That whole fiasco was just a blueprint. Dallas, I think Trinity's their name. Yeah, the Dallas Trinity. They never released that they had kits. They just like, oh hey, here's one gold, here's one maroon. We're all set for the entire season. And this kind of happened underneath the radar. And that kind of just epitomized what we thought would happen this year.
I mean, like even Brooklyn, like we talked to Diaza, and just to hear the background of how they got Brooklyn was because another brand like slacked off. They didn't show Brooklyn love. Like I feel like that's what's happening, and it scares me because I feel like I don't want us to like necessarily. Again, literally repeating myself. I don't want us to necessarily compete with the NWSL, but they're both tier 1 teams. Tier 1 leagues. So if you want to show that you're a tier 1 league, you have to look like a tier 1 league.
Yes.
And I feel like we're not looking like
tier 1.
Tier 1.
I will say the benefit to the Super League is that the NWSL, their direct competitor in League 1, is a Nike team, and Nike has kind of dropped the ball in a few years, so that might help a little bit.
Are you saying that Louisville's forest green kit?
Yes. I mean, it looks good, and the collar's a little weird. I don't like Nike's collars, but it does its thing. It's doing its thing. But we also had predicted for the Super League that no team would produce a third kit. We were wrong. Spokane did release a third kit. Now I want more teams, but one team out of like 8 teams did release a third kit. So
right.
Growing trend, maybe not, but to Austin's point earlier, a lot of teams did release pink jerseys for warm-up kits this year, and I don't think I think a lot of them were warm-up. So the creativity is getting there, and Brooklyn did their I think it was 7 kits plus some ticket package, whatever it was, and that they had a bunch of really simple one. I can't remember the full details, but the ideas are getting there, and I think we will eventually see more happen in 2026. But I think we were spot on.
And they're wearing a new sponsor like every month or something like that, or
every match.
Home game. Yeah, every home game.
Yep,
is a new sponsor for something local in Brooklyn.
Exactly. So
that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah. So I definitely think they're starting to dip into that creativity that we saw early in the championship phase. This next one is a mixed bag.
Liberty already regressed. I feel like they need to rebound.
Yes, and I think the Liberty regressed again. And I think the Ivy rebounded. Not to where I wanted them, but they definitely took the step to rebound, step forward. And I think we were half right on this one. So pretty spot on with that one, personally. Because honestly, I'm a little irked that Liberty aren't better looking, especially given some of the tops for the main team, Greenville Triumph, and some of the warm-up kits, and even their goalkeeper kits looked pretty good. So I wanted that to the field players. So now this next part, honestly, is kind of fun. This is league wide. We had said that we were going to see a bunch of new guests here on KitSZN, and we did that. We brought in Taylor Thomas from Sioux Falls. We talked with Austin Moore. He's even here on the show helping us tonight. We talked with Minneapolis and Scott Mink, AFC Ann Arbor. I even got to go visit, the club and kind of see what they had up there. San Francisco City, we got to interview him. Cassidy Sabinski, chat with her again. And then even Louisville City. So we definitely got to see an interview and talk with more people. And we even had a friend, Jack Grims, on for an episode as well. So we definitely had some new guests in 2025. So I'm pretty glad of that one, Fox, aren't we?
Oh yeah, and hopefully what we were talking about, hopefully that trend continues.
Exactly. Just there are some fun things in the pipeline, people. Some fun things that I got cooking over here. So, and then what we also predicted, because of the Jägermeister Cup, the Open Cup, and kind of the increased importance of both of those competitions, that we would see more cup kits across the league. We did. Especially with Birmingham, with their Jägermeister Cup. We saw Charleston release a cup kit. We saw a few more than we normally do. Just teams had a greater emphasis, if not maybe cup-specific kits, but we definitely saw more third kits from teams, especially given that they're playing at least 4 more games in the season, and they could definitely do something a little bit more fun. So
I think we'll see that. I know we're not talking about 2026 predictions, but we'll see at least 50% more, if not double that next year. I think teams now are like, oh, we can do that. I didn't know that was an option. Of course you want to do
that. I mean, Charleston literally had the Jägermeister Cup logo on the bottom of the shirts and stuff like that. So that was the one detail I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Right. And I definitely think we'll see more of that, to Austin's point. I think more teams are taking it serious, especially given the fact that Hartford won it, and I think teams see a pathway to win a trophy. I think more teams take it seriously, even from a kit perspective.
I feel like that's probably the easiest route. I always talk about this with the MLS, but that Open Cup, I feel like the Open Cup is the easiest way to get a trophy in the MLS since you come in at the very last round.
Yeah, right.
If you actually put in your real squad, you could win.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're in the lower divisions, like Indy 11, you use it as a springboard to a 20-something game unbeaten run, which is you use that competition as something that can benefit you and give you some fame and popularity across the ecosystem, which could be very, very useful. So I definitely love seeing the importance continue. And we definitely saw this here in 2025. More teams will reuse kits. We're specifically looking at Rhode Island, who did not release a new home primary or secondary, but just a tertiary. Colorado Springs only released a third kit as well. And Oakland only released their secondary kit and a third kit. So I definitely see this just now too. We'll talk about that next year, but we definitely saw more teams not releasing 3 or 4 kits in a season instead of doing a 1 to 2. And I think that is healthier for the league, healthier for the fan, and to your point earlier, Fox, healthier to the planet as well. So, just saying. And I think that's everything that I had on the slideshow. That is, yes. So, I'm gonna just close that. There we go. So that is all that we had when it comes to kind of the kit side and kind of our predictions, how right or wrong we were. Kind of a mixed bag, as you would expect, with people just kind of talking out of their butt a little bit. So, Austin, is there anything you just want to kind of summarize kind of how you felt for 2025? And I'll go to you, Fox, and I'll end it up here.
Not about kits in general, but I just wanted to say congrats Brett and Fox, I mean, year 4, the largest by far. Congrats on making it through 160. That's crazy. And yeah, looking forward to the 5th year anniversary. It's going to be exciting.
Thank you.
Nothing else from me.
I don't know. Sounds like we need to make a special 5th year anniversary jersey. That's all I'm
I
hearing.
don't want to come out and say it, but I've been thinking of this entire time.
Fox, you did on your canvas stills, and you worked with Austin on this one. I trust you.
Yeah, I've sent you some stuff for other things too. So
Perfect.
there we go. But yeah, no, I'm excited for next year just to keep it rolling, to keep. Yeah, like I said, I want to go, not necessarily be like worldwide famous, but just have a community that's worldwide.
Yeah.
Because I love our chats and the Discord and stuff like that, and on Instagram, and I feel like we're building a community, and I want to continue that community to grow.
Yeah.
So.
And one of the things that I just want to say here as I kind of wrap up, the amount of positive feedback I've gotten directly from people has honestly been the greatest thing to happen this year. I also had some personal struggles in the summer, tough times for a few months. And we've also had our turbulent year over a kind of a mixed bag year overall. And just seeing comments, I'm going to pull it up here real quick, from one of our followers here saying, thank you very much for the prize and much more importantly for the gift of KitSZN. While the world appears to continue to implode, it's great having something lighthearted and educational to enjoy and discuss. Appreciate your efforts, maximum respect and gratitude. And we had several of these throughout the year, and seeing that just always brings a smile to my face, makes me so passionate and happy about what we do here. We may not get as many as Fox alludes to. We're not like worldwide, around in millions of views, but we are making an impact on someone's life. And people actually enjoy the content that we're creating. And that makes all of this worth it to me, and keeps the lights on, and keeps us going. And I cannot thank everybody so much enough for all of this. And yeah, that's really it. We wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for you.
Yeah,
And
otherwise we would just text each other like, "Oh, look at this one. Oh, yeah, cool."
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it kind of low-key started. So, yeah, I just want to say thanks to the fans. Thanks for Fox for putting me through this, but helping me these last few months, and really us going through this awesome, helping out as well as always. This has been a topsy-turvy year of KitSZN, and I wouldn't have wanted it a different way at the end result if we continue to have comments like I just displayed there, of just the amount of gratitude from you fans. And I know there's dozens more. I've gotten several of them.
I say, like, I literally just pulled one up. Somebody messaged us on Instagram. And it was like, bought this immediately after seeing it here. Good shout. So just like, so brands, it works.
Yeah. And no. And also I'll tell this here. I also am a capo here at the Indy 11. I help capo in the Bridger Battalion end, and I do a little bit of that. I actually had someone walk up to me. We started talking Borussia Dortmund kits, and eventually he goes, "I like lower league soccer kits in the USL," and I go, "Have you checked out KitSZN?" He goes, "Yeah, I watch it all the time," and I go, "Well, you're talking to him right here."
It's me.
One of the hosts, yeah, and like, people knowing who I had zero interactions with, knowing who I am and liking our content just adds to this overall sentiment that we have for you fans. So we wouldn't be here without you. I know it's a long-winded way, probably a little sappy, but we love y'all. We do appreciate it. We wouldn't be doing this without you. And I wouldn't want it a different way. So for the last time in 2025, it is time for a Kit Show Off time. Austin, as our guest, please go first.
I almost forgot. I was like, we're ready to sign off. We've got 2 Olive in York shirts in the building.
Yeah, I'm representing all of New York today.
So this is the Des Moines Menace with the kind of retro 80s, 90s faded, I guess they're parallelograms. Yeah, knew I had to get it after seeing it. I think this is one of the more, especially as a graphic designer, you love seeing this this effect. And then the retro throwback, old school crest is just fantastic. It's both very loud and kind of classy and reserved at the same time. So it's interesting. I find myself wearing this more than I thought I would, because it is it is polo. You can wear this with a normal outfit. So yeah,
it's professional.
That's my kit for today.
Nice. Thoughts?
I'm also going with all of New York, but with was it Biscayne?
Biscayne Bay.
Biscayne Bay. My buddy over here, this guy, brought this over for me for my birthday, and it's actually my first time wearing it. And I was like, I need to wear it, and
it's got the manatee on the crest, right?
Yeah, it's the awesome manatee, and of course that's the soccer ball, so we know what we're playing.
Oh yeah,
But it's I like how they utilize the soccer ball. Like, it's cheesy, it has the soccer ball because that's the point of it. It's supposed to be cheesy as a manatee on it, but it's the sun. It's gone.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you like it. It was in my closet and it needed a proper home because I wasn't wearing it enough. So glad you do like it. Now, the one I'm rocking tonight, no, I'm not pandering Austin. My wife actually picked this out in the blind draw. She picked it out. I literally went through all the kits I haven't worn this year on the show. And I gave her all the colors. She chose blue, and I showed her all of them. She picked yours. I didn't force her hand. So
shout out Hannah.
Yeah, so I'm rocking a West Seattle Junction, the Admiral kit. I believe that's what it was called. And so I'm rocking this one. It looks good. It has that collar feel. This is one of the more classic ones I could. If I could chop this part off, you would look like it'd be like it's if I'm wearing a polo. This looks great. This is my style. This looks really good. Also, who doesn't love a blue on blue? Just saying.
Sorry, it was the Harbor kit.
Harbor. Thank you. Yeah, the Admiral is the white.
Admiral is the away.
Yeah. So this is the Harbor kit. So I love the blues, the blue on blues, but being an Indy 11 fan, we love our blue on blue. So I always appreciate this. Want to rock it here on tonight's episode.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, a little bit of an insider thing, and also a segue into 2026. We're already well underway into producing samples for next year's, for 2026 West Seattle Junction kits, and I'm sure every manufacturer is a little bit different in terms of their timeline, but I'm sure Hummel is well underway with production for next year's kits as well. So everything's already in motion for what you guys will get to talk about in 2026.
I've heard some snippets on some teams, and if you also follow our Instagram, some teams are doing some fan votes now, so definitely adds to your
our friends in Lionsbridge there.
And Sosa, McKinney, McKinney. The same. Teams are starting to get their gears running here, alludes to your point. And I have also some other sources that confirm that. So what I will say here as I wrap things up, obviously as I put the patrons down below, I will be releasing a very quick little video here between next week or so, just asking to do a end of season giveaway, not giveaway, survey, to kind of get some feedback on what y'all want to see, because we know what we want to do here on the show. Let us know what you want to see on the show. So be on the lookout for that here sometime within the next week. It is my birthday this weekend, so kind of see how busy I get, because I'll be doing some birthday shit. So three this day.
Wow. I'm about to get
anyways, so just be on the lookout for that, and please submit that. Give us all the feedback either on the Substack articles, which y'all are loving, social media and all that. Just look at all the stuff, all the places for that. So it's just 2 hours long. It's a little bit more probably than I thought, but there's a lot to talk about to wrap up the season. Awesome. Big thanks to Austin for joining us here tonight. Not just Fox Night
Love
here.
you, sir.
Thanks
So-
for having me.
Yeah. So
It feels like with the finale, it's like, oh, postseason. I made the All-Star game.
right. That's how
Ready
we.
for the ship.
Yeah, at this point, it's almost like we're in the final. Like we're just
Mhm.
taking it in, and we're just sealing it, and we are happy with how we did. So glad to have you on here for tonight. And thank you to everyone who tuned in, who will be listening to this as well. So we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And if anything else comes up that we decide to make it an episode, we might as well. We have the control. We can do whatever we want. So, but for KitSZN, that does it for season 4. We thank you. We love you all. Appreciate it. And good night.